Sports Blitz Live is on the air with full coverage of the Auburn Tigers,
Touchdown, Auburn!
the Alabama Crimson Tide,
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama. Touchdown!
and everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Only a few hours later, and we're back at it. Welcome into the Saturday Sports Countdown, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. It's that kind of time of year for us. We don't get a lot of breaks right now, but that's okay. We just rock right along, and we're glad that you're joining us here to start your Saturday morning. And we'll take your calls, 256-234-6221, to be part of the program. You can also comment away. A lot of different things out there to talk about, especially in the first hour here with high school football. And, we'll dive into a lot of different sides of it, but we'll run down all the scores from last night, or a majority of them. Let's just put it that way. We'll run down a majority of the scores from last night, and some crazy football games, and getting down to terms. Really 5 weeks into the season. Some only played 4, but some have played 5 football games at this point in time, and you're starting to see the regions kind of take shape. That's hard to believe we're already talking about that.
Well, we pretty much know who everyone is by this point in the season. You can look down, you can already point out the teams to watch. That'll probably be the 4 to 6 teams that'll be competing for a state championship outside of some catastrophe that happens to them, kind of like Central Clay had in the first round last year, which, by the way, they're right back in the thick of things in Class 5A. But, Brett, the top of 7A, I think, is a little more competitive than we've seen in years past. You watch Thompson, you see those scores come across. Last night, Vestavia gave them all they wanted. Did score some points there late in the football game to kind of separate themselves, but Thompson's had games like that even in state this year, and you see Central Phoenix City having to win a game by 7 last week, and then the same last night, struggling with Enterprise outside of a late score there to maybe separate themselves somewhat from Enterprise. So, Brett, I think we're in for a Super 7 that could be very, very competitive this year, and looking forward to it.
Let's see where everybody is going into last night. Here were the polls starting in 7A. Phoenix City and Auburn at 1 and 2, then Thompson 3, Carver, Montgomery 4, Hoover 5, and then Enterprise, Hewitt, Trussville, Mary, Montgomery, Austin, and Dothan round out the top 10. Again, I talked about this on earlier in the week on the Lake Martin Sports Roundup show. Majority of those teams, I think 8 just off the top of my head, came from two regions. So, and then you've got, a couple, one Mary Montgomery from the Mobile region and Austin from Huntsville. The rest of it, it's those same 2 regions. So, again, based off what you just said, no shock there. Seems like it's the same players, but maybe a little bit more parity this time. Let's look at 6A. Saraland 1, Parker 2, and we're going to go through all these scores from last night. Clay Chalkwell 3, Spain Park 4. We saw them up close and personal last night. Oxford 5, Muscle Shoals 6, Gadsden City 7, Mountain Brook 8, Homewood 9, and Hartselle 10. I'm just going to start with the first 3 classifications here, and then we'll dive into some more rankings. But Guntersville's 1, Catholic Montgomery 2, Central Clay 3, Leeds 4, and Fairview is 5 there in Class 5A. And then there's Viger, as you said, I heard you say last week, when Viger kind of gets things together, they're hard to beat. And right now they're 4-0, and we'll see how that plays out. Scottsboro, Moody, Corner, and Williamson. So your top 5 there in 5A: Guntersville, Catholic, Central Clay, Leeds, and Fairview. And we'll come down and do 4A through 1A. But anything shocking to you out of those 3?
No, all teams I expected to be there. I think that we will talk about the Parker game last night. I think you see the discrepancy between the top end of Alabama high school football and maybe the top end of Georgia. We live here in Alabama. We don't want to recognize it, but I think the score discrepancy that you see there was expected. Carrollton, one of the top teams in all of the country, really, but mainly one of the top teams there in the state of Georgia. And Parker has not had a close football game here in state this year. And I know that they're 6A, and if you threw them up in that Birmingham region with Thompson and Hewitt-Trussville and Hoover and some of those squads, that they would have a chance to lose some games week in and week out. But they're a very talented team, and they lose by 3 scores last night to Carrollton, Georgia, and pretty much expected.
Yeah, they've had a ton of players move in. Let's just be honest about it. Parker had a revamped roster. I don't know how many's transferred in, but that's why they've been able to build up to where they are. So with that being said, we'll start with some scores, and we'll start in 7A football. As you mentioned yesterday, again, not a lot of change overall as far as the major players in that. But Thompson ends up knocking Vestavia off 38-17, and we looked down and Vestavia was up 17-14, but it just seems like that's been the case for Vestavia most of the time in this region, is that they've played some very, very close football games, but maybe just don't have enough to finish these games up there. But Thompson, I don't know how Vestavia scored. I said that on the broadcast last night. It was 17-14. I don't know if they got a defensive score or whatnot, but they aren't giving up any points. And they played a couple of out-of-state schools, a couple of the better schools out of state, Grayson, Georgia, team out of Tennessee as well. And they just don't give up points, man. That's the thing you got to watch about Thompson. You remember the state championship game last year. Phoenix City beat them, but it wasn't because they gave up a boatload of points. You got to earn it against them, man.
Very talented. Got a lot of commits throughout the country, but mainly here in the SEC. Auburn's been lucky enough to go over to Thompson right now and pick up a couple of key commits, and we'll see them the remainder of the season this year. Offensively, they have their woes from time to time, so I think that brings these teams back into the fray that maybe we haven't seen over the last couple of years. Right now, and I know you'll probably run down the score, Auburn probably the class of Class 7A. Have they had a close football game this year?
No, they haven't.
Well, they did against Opelika.
Well, 28-24.
Yeah,
Yep,
Opelika gave them all they wanted, but outside that Opelika, which I think Opelika's got a very good football team. You and I saw them in week 1 this year. They're competitive.
They'll get better because they're going to be well coached.
Yeah, and they've got the 38 seniors. Maybe they lose another game.
That's unbelievable.
It'll be Phoenix City and Opelika going for that second slot, it looks like, in that region. There's some tough games coming down the stretch. I don't want to give them wins in all of them, but I'd be surprised if they lost any of them.
I'm not going to concede that Auburn's going to beat Phoenix City yet.
No, not yet.
I'm gonna wait and see. Again,
it does feel closer than it did last year.
It does. From time to time, though, we'll look down and see odd scores out of that region, and you go, man, what happened? But Phoenix City, still a very good football team, and no Cam Coleman, obviously, and some other pieces off that team. Hey, look, you're going to take a step back. Even Phoenix City, some of these teams, you lose a player or two like that, you're going to take a step back. But like you said, Auburn 47-0 over Jag. That Austin team seems to be the team out of the Huntsville area that could maybe do something. We see this every year, though. I try to buy in to somebody coming out of that region, and they end up losing in the first round, 50-6 over Albertville. Carver Montgomery, 35-28 over Dothan. Dothan, you got to feel for them a little bit. They've been in 2 very close games 2 weeks in a row. They've had Carver and Phoenix City back-to-back, and they lost by touchdown to both of them. So, just right there. And that's the difference in being a playoff team in that region and not. And you put Dothan probably in any of those other regions, and they may win the daggum thing. So that just tells you. But they're going to battle probably for the 4th spot. It's going to be interesting to watch that whole region every week, man. You just better come ready to play. Hewitt-Trussville over Hillcrest, Tuscaloosa. You and I talked about this on the way home yesterday. Hillcrest just, when they move up to 7A from 6A, man, it's a you get a comeuppance, man, when you move up in classifications in this state.
And then when you drop down, you and I'll talk about our game that we covered last night. We've seen it a number of times here in Ellick City. When we go from a top classification, whether it's 7A or 6A, we've never been in 7A, but when we were in 6A for a very long time and it was the top class,
right,
every time we dropped to 5, the first couple of years, it was like taking candy from a baby because you were used to playing against some different opponents. You knew if your body and The amount of players and the program wasn't up to a top standard that you were going to get run out of the gym every Friday night. It's the same going on with Hillcrest Tuscaloosa. You know, they're having to move up that class where they've had tremendous success in
We
Class
saw
6A.
St. Paul's have that same issue when they moved up. They went almost winless one year, and they won as many state
Gulf Shores is
championships.
dealing with it this year.
They're dealing with it. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, it's hard when you move up in classification. It is tough. So, another team to look for. When you look down, we thought maybe James Clemens is also another one of those teams up in the Huntsville area, 38-18 over Grissom. They'll match up with Spain Park next week. That's a matchup of two undefeated teams. 1 in 7A, 1 in 6A. Spain Park will have to travel to them. So we'll see. I mean, as I looked at Spain Park's schedule last night, that probably will be the only chance they have to lose a game. If not, they'll go undefeated. You know, that's the thing. We'll talk about Benjamin Russell when we come back in the second segment. But you look down, and the three teams Benjamin Russell has lost to, Central Clay probably go undefeated in the regular season. Opelika, we know what they're in, but they're a good football team. It could be from one week to the other, them winning or losing. And then the Spain Park team, if they knock off James Clemens, probably will run the table too. So three very good football teams. And, you know, last night it was close through three quarters, and they kind of got away from us in the fourth. But the first two games of the season for the Wildcats, they played pretty well. And as far as the score, they had a lot of stuff to clean up. But anyway, we're going to get to a break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. When we come back, we'll continue running down the scores, kind of give you a synopsis from last night and some scores from the local area. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Sportz Auto Sales, Highway 280 in Kellyton, Alabama is home-owned and home-operated. If you're looking for tires, they have it. If you're looking for a vehicle, they have them. Great selection. Always out looking for more just for you, the customer. And if you're looking for service, whether you buy the vehicle from them or whether you buy the vehicle somewhere else, they do service work and got a great crew there. Keep us in mind. Don't you go by Sportz Auto Sales on Highway 280 in Kellyton today.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill and Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply is your headquarters for all the brands contractors know best. We are your local home improvement store with 9 convenient locations throughout Central Alabama. We have a huge selection of Weber and Traeger, Pelican coolers, Milwaukee and DeWalt tools, and other top brands. No matter the project, we have you covered with our high-quality lumber and building supplies. From do-it-yourselfers to seasoned pros, Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply has what you need to get the job done.
Red Flag Pest Control is Central Alabama's best in pest control with hometown service in Lake Martin and now the greater Montgomery area. When you see pests, throw down the red flag. Termites, bed bugs, carpenter bees, mosquitoes, or general pests. Red Flag gets the job done at the right price for your home or business. At Lake Martin, call 888-943-0353 or in Montgomery, 334-265-1831. Red Flag, the best in pest control in Central Alabama.
I'm Karen Chanel, your State Farm agent in Alexander City, Alabama, and the greater Lake Martin area. I want to talk to you a little bit today about your discounts. How many of you are entitled to discounts that you may or may not be receiving? One of the easiest discounts on your homeowner's insurance is that of having a fire extinguisher. Coupled with a deadbolt lock and a smoke alarm, that gives you an automatic discount on your homeowner's policy.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown. Man, I tell you, when you go back and think about some things in college, man, it just kind of get off the rails a little bit. We're going to try to reel it in. So back here on the Saturday Sports Countdown, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Call on Sunshine Heating and Air for all your heating and air needs, 256-825-4849. Kevin Kill, his group, been part of our program for a long time. We appreciate them so much. Do all the work on my heating and air. You know, if I need something done, that's the number I call. I encourage you to do the same. They'll take care of you. And, man, you need somebody to come take care of you on the weekends too, man. If it's a bad situation and your air goes out in the south or your heat, you know, you can build a fire a little bit and you can kind of wait till Monday. But, man, there ain't no – I mean, there is no relief in the south in the summertime. So, call on them. All right, let's get back to some scores, or let's run into our game for just a second. And we'll take your comments and your calls, whatnot. Benjamin Russell goes up to Spain Park in a region matchup. Last night, Spain Park knocks off Benjamin Russell 42-15. Down 28-8 at half, but the game started good. Wildcats get off to an 8-0 start, get a 3-and-out on defense, and really that's the best way you could ask for on a road game against a team like Spain Park. But they answered, you know, again, 28 unanswered points to go into half at that score. But we said, look, we got to play almost a perfect third quarter, and we almost did. Really held the football. First offensive possession, drove down, scored. They drive. We block a field goal, get it, drive back down, and, man, we have one penalty inside the 5 that knocks us back to the 8 and ended up costing us an opportunity to score. Could have cut it to 6. Had a chance to cut it to 6 and basically limit Spain Park to about 5 or 6 plays there in the third quarter. But they do what a good football team does. They take it 98 yards and go back and score and get it back to a 20-point advantage. And then after that, it was over.
Well, you knew once they got the football back, barring penalties and major distance penalties and some turnovers, you had the sense last night we weren't stopping them. We'll talk about Cedarian Morgan, who was our player of the game last night, and very clearly the player of the game. We'll talk about him. But if he wasn't the best player on the field, Corey Barber was. Right. Barber had 220 yards and receptions against us last night. After we scored that opening touchdown, they came back a couple of plays later, hit a little slant route. He takes it down the right sideline and outdistance our 100-meter speedster here in the state, LaJavius Calhoun. He just ran away from him to go for a touchdown. I said, oh, my, I don't think I've really seen hardly anyone run away from Calhoun like we just saw there. Barber is a very good football player for Spain Park. He's about 6'1", 180, 185 pounds. Looks like he could play running back for any other school here in the state, but has separation speed. And the very impressive part of Spain Park is the strength of that team. Top to bottom, I don't care if it's their top 5 players to their 23rd player on the roster that gets playing time. The strength of the team was the separation that we saw last night. Very, very strong legs, very, very well conditioned. You can tell that they are disciplined in the weight room. I was impressed. First time I've seen them. So some of these programs that we're seeing that are moving from the top class down, it's the first time you put your eyes on them. Massive offensive line that looked like a 7A offensive line. I think that caused some problems for us later on in the football game. Bradley, the Clemson commit at quarterback, he can get it done with his legs. The moments that we did put pressure on him, he ran away from us. He didn't have to do a lot. I mean, even though he probably threw for 300 yards last night.
He throws a nice ball. He missed some wide open targets that you go, you know, and he had time on that. But he's just a junior, so he'll continue to develop. But I mean, you're right. You know, off the hoof, it was a 7A football team. I mean, this is the 34th largest school in the state. They still look like. And again, it's a mentality. I'm not giving any classification a pass, but you know, talk about the strength of that team. And buddy, in that region they played in 7A, if you don't have the look, if you don't have the look, you get, instead of getting beat, you know, 35-17, you get beat 51-0. I mean, that's the difference. We've seen some teams in that region Not to pick on Oak Mountain, they've gotten better, but that's the kind of scores we saw last year from them. I mean, just complete and total blowouts.
Well, and getting participation in today's football's a very difficult thing. I mean, I'm watching it firsthand within family members of mine, and then I'm watching it firsthand, period, just getting participation out there. And I think that when you look at the top half of especially the 6A classification, where you've got 1,100 enrollment in the top 3 grades at Spain Park all the way down to 600 here at Benjamin Russell, we've got a great program. I mean, we went to the quarters last year, lost a tough game with the potential to go to the semis. I mean, I think we get as much out of what we put out there as you possibly can get just about anywhere.
No doubt.
But you look at the discrepancy between the numbers that you're choosing from. Spain Park dressed over 90 last night. You and I looked at the roster yesterday, counting 9th graders. I'd guess they'd have 140 to 150 on the roster. We got 65 total, 9th through 12th. I'll put the effort that we're getting out of that 65 total and the top 25 that are really playing the key minutes for us. I mean, that's asking a lot, and it clearly looked like last night. Luckily we've got some pieces on that team that aren't normal. Cedarian Morgan is not normal.
No,
he didn't look normal last night.
Cover him in a million
he
years,
had 14 catches last night, 178 yards and a touchdown. He kept us in the football game for sure.
Well, again, this is not excuses. This is reality. We've said it a million times on this show over the last however many years. Bottom line, and I said it on the way home last night, and I think I said it on the air, and you did too. It boils down to lines of scrimmage, and you can say whatever, but 400 or 500 more kids to pick from, it matters, especially in participation when you're trying to get depth. And it says a lot about our kids. We had a chance to cut it to 6 at the end of the third quarter against a team that clearly outmatched us from a size standpoint and a numbers standpoint. But again, that we don't deal in moral victories. You want to win the games, and they drop down and you take care of business. But at the end of the day, showed a lot of grit and showed a lot of willpower to come in and not just roll over and play hard in the third quarter and try to get back in that football game. But it does matter. It doesn't matter what classification, 7A to 1A. If you have the advantage on the offensive and defensive lines, and you said it last night on the air, it's going to show up in the fourth quarter.
Well, I think we've got 2 really good defensive ends. I do. B.J. Pulliam, I think he plays as hard as you can possibly play. He's about 6'1" or 6'2", 220 pounds. I made you stop during the broadcast while he and 55 were standing side by side last night and say, what would you do? Yeah. Let's put yourself in our kids' shoes.
We got some pressure last night too.
But I'm guessing 5 inches and 80 pounds difference between those two.
Right.
On the opposite side, we've got a 6'2", 230-pound Caleb Spivey that a lot of people want. I'm guessing he was giving up 4 inches and 70 to 90 pounds to their right tackle.
Right.
So they were really big. Again, they look like a small college line that was well-trained, well-developed. You can see football players, they tell the tale in their legs. I've always bragged on any team that Danny Horn coaches. Look at them walk out on the field, look at their legs, guesstimate how often they sit under a squat rack and decide whether you think you're as strong as they are. That's what separates his programs from many of them out there. And that was the one takeaway I had last night.
And we'll continue to talk about that, but when you are a team that has to, again, compete with maybe a school in your region or somewhere else that has more to pull from and maybe more depth, you got to put some pieces on both sides of the football. You got to keep your best players on the field, and again, the strength of that and the condition is where you try to gain back a little bit of an advantage. I mean, if you're down numbers, then that's that part that you go in the weight room and you say, look, okay, this is where we can probably make up a gap because we're gonna say you're not gonna out physical us, you're not gonna be in better shape. And we saw that with Clay Central earlier in the year. Clearly, you and I said this on the way home. If Danny Horn had made a decision to only play those skill guys that they have on offense and never put them in the secondary, how many touchdowns would Cedarian Morgan have scored against them? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
And then the flip side of that, if they only played in the secondary and never played a lick of offense, I mean, who are they going to as far as targets? So, I mean, I know it's different strokes for different folks, but you have to figure out ways on that. But at the end of the day, and we got to get to break, at the end of the day, it all boils down to the lines of scrimmage. And if somebody's got a clear advantage over you on the line of scrimmage in these classifications up and down, hard to win in high school. But when you match up, you can play with anybody. So, all right, up against the break. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Hillary Towers may very well be the Lake Martin area's best kept secret, an affordable senior citizens community located on Highway 22 East in Alexander City. Spacious one-bedroom units are currently available. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today for more information on the newly renovated Hillary Towers, 256-329-0552. 256-329-0552. Hillary Towers, 22 East, Alexander City.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need with top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill, and our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
Hi, I'm Abby Guy, Vice President at Riverbank and Trust. They say that most banks offer the same products, but Riverbank offers something most can't: personal connection. We love getting to know our customers by name and making them feel special with every interaction. It's a feeling of warm hospitality you won't find anywhere else. Experience it for yourself.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. If you got some comments, we got some coming in. We'll get to those here in just a minute. Glenn said, there needs to be some other – said we got some other kids at Benjamin Russell need to be playing football. Again, look, in schools like ours, a smaller 6A on down into the 5A classification and on down, you really to have a chance – we hear all coaches say this. I met with some coaches a couple weeks ago, and they said, look, you almost have to have every single willing boy come out and play football to give yourself a chance. You got to get them out. And, again, you talked about it in the first segment, participation across the country in football. It's hard to pull some of these kids out.
It's a tough sell right now. I went back and watched documentary that was put together by PBS on CTE and concussion protocol that's going on in the NFL, and all of the lawsuits that are coming down with that. I mean, if you allow that type of discussion to continue in, it's going to be a tough sell to anyone to be willing to go out there and put yourself through. But, you know, I personally think that football is as good a thing as you possibly can put your child or your boy in front of to toughen him up a little bit and turn him into a man. And whether you can sell that or not, hey, it's still up for grabs on whether it happens around me. I mean, it's a difficult sell. It makes it makes it tough. You do look down at programs where the numbers to pull from aren't where they once were, and when you don't have certain individuals out, it's more glaring than others.
Oh, it is.
And
yeah.
It does make it very impressive when you watch, and I keep going back because they're close to us. I mean, Central Clay is one of the smallest 5A schools in the state. Go look at their enrollment. Very small school. They've got half the enrollment Benjamin Russell's got, right around half of it. And I looked at their participation numbers are better than ours. They beat us up and down. I mean, from high school down into the middle school ranks. And you know, you got it.
They maximize their numbers.
I think, you know, the culture built in there is, for the most part, if you're a good enough athlete, you find your way on the football field. It's not just an individual sport here and an individual sport there. And now how you can sell that to parents and kids, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, it's not just in Alabama. It's everywhere. I mean,
yes. Going to get worse, too.
Excuse me. I'll say this about that, though. The technology in football is the best it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go back and look at the 60s and 70s and the shell of a piece of plastic they used to put on their head. I mean, you look at how far they've come, and then now they're even wearing the concussion caps in the pros. You know, I mean, they're letting those players that choose to do that wear that in. You know, saw some of those concussion caps in a game the other night on the Thursday night game. So, again, there's many up-to-date technology-wise things being done in football than there ever has been, and will continue to do that to try to make it the safest. But look, you can only make a collision sport so safe, okay? You can only tweak so many rules as far as how you want to tackle and what you want to do. I mean, there's no question the way the game's been played, the way the game is being played has changed. You don't see these head-hunting plays like you used to see in the pros in college. Every blue moon, when somebody maybe gets frustrated and does something, you know, out of rage or whatever. But for the most part, the way people tackle's changed, the way people approach everything's changed. They're doing everything they can to make it outside of just not playing flag football, man. I hate to say it that way, but there's only so much you can do from a standpoint when you're playing a collision sport, and you said it best. You know, the things that you learn from playing a game like football, you know, the positives far outweigh the negatives, in my opinion.
It's an easy sport not to do. It's a very easy sport to have an excuse on why I don't want to do that. I'll put it that way. So things like that, I think, better you in the long.
From the running in the summer to the working out to the things that, you know, other kids aren't doing, but you're having to wake up at 5:30 and go do extra stuff when everybody else is still in the bed. I mean, again, a lot of life lessons there. Let's go down scores in 6A. Chelsea knocks off Calera 56-28. Wildcats will see Chelsea down the road in a few weeks. Gulf Shores over Blunt 48-14. Homewood 52-0 over Jackson Olin. Hueytown knocked off Bessemer City 34-14. Muscle Shoals, good football team always, knocks off Coleman 55-27. Oxford over Mountain Brook 29-28. Very good football.
Really good game. I think Oxford scored late, maybe 20-something seconds left. Went for two to win that football game and get it done. So Oxford's got one of the best quarterbacks in the state, able to pull it off late in that game, and you know that's a big win for them.
Another team Benjamin Russell will face here in a few weeks, Pelham knocked off Chilton County 37-14. That's their first win of the season. Russell County all over Park Crossing, 61-6. It was Saraland over McGill-Tulane, 34-12. Spain Park, as we talked about, over Benjamin Russell, 42-15. Spanish Fork got it done over Murphy, 44-6, coming back off that loss to Saraland last week. St. Paul's by a touchdown over Theodore, 14-7, and Wetumpka knocked off Rehoboth last night, 34-19. We'll take a break. We come back. More scores here in high school football when we come back.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Get ready to rev up your fall with Adams Motorsports in Montgomery. This season, experience the thrill of the open road like never before. From sleek motorcycles to powerful ATVs to versatile side-by-sides, we've got everything you need to fuel your passion for adventure. Whether Polaris, Suzuki, or Kawasaki, Adams sells and services the best. Go to where the journey begins. Visit us today or online for more information. From East Alabama's first family of power sports, Adams Motorsports of Montgomery.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation is coming soon to the corner of 280 and 49 North in Dadeville. This new 10,000 square foot facility is conveniently located to serve the residents of the Lake Martin area and its many communities. A branch of Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory in Opelika, Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation looks forward to serving your families and your communities, as we have since 1900 at Frederick Dean. 256-750-0381.
There's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes that are installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
Looking to transform your outdoor space? Look no further than Bama Sheds. As a family-owned and operated business, we understand your needs. That's why we offer no credit check, rent-to-own options. Enjoy free delivery and setup within 35 miles of our 4 convenient locations. Whether you need a shed, pole barn, garage, or carport, we've got you covered. Visit our website at bamasheds.com or call 256-268-8484. Bama Sheds, where quality meets affordability and your outdoor dreams become reality.
Back here on the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. We'll get to college in the second hour. You can call us 256-234-6221 if you'd like to be part of the program. We'll continue to run down scores. We'll drop down to 5A now. Beauregard over Elmore County, 31-13. That was a close game for probably about 2.5 quarters, and then Beauregard able to pull away there and win that game 31-13 in the fourth.
Yeah, they're explosive, a very good football team. You kind of saw it coming the last couple of years, and they finally gotten another group through that when they do it, they can compete for championships, and I think they're right in the thick of things. Central Clay will play Beauregard later on in the season, and I think that will be for the region title clearly, and they better be good because that Central Clay team, I've already seen with my own 2 eyes. I know how good they are.
Yeah, speaking of them, 48-9 winners over Sylacauga. 6-minute running quarters in the second half for Sylacauga. It was 35 to nothing at half, or 35 to nothing at the end of the first quarter. So, man, that's
region matchup where you're running clock and 6-minute clock. Ooh.
Man, how far has it gotten away from Sylacauga, man?
How much has Central Clay separated themselves in about a 5 or 6 year span from the rest of Class 5A in that region that they're in?
Yeah, they've definitely separated.
When's the last region loss they had? It was to Beauregard, I think. About 3 or 4 years ago.
Probably so. All right, Center Point over St. Clair County, 34-27. Demopolis shut out Selma, 41-0. Eufaula knocked off Carroll, 41-7. Faith Academy over Alberta, 35-25. Gunnersville over Arab, a good football game there, 17-15. Montgomery Catholic knocks off Benjamin Russell's next opponent, Charles Henderson, 63-6.
Montgomery Catholic, one of the best programs in the state. Kirk Johnson taking over for Aubrey Blackwell. I think he's only lost 2 football games since he took over the head job there.
Right.
They already had a really good program under Coach Blackwell, and Kirk is taking it to a different level, even from where they were then. So congratulations to that program, man. Now you look down, and if they were to lose, you'd be surprised.
Moody knocks off Helena, 26-21, another future opponent for the Wildcats coming up in Helena, but Moody got a good football team. We'll be up there this coming up week, previewing the Moody-Auburn game on the road. We're looking forward to being in Moody this coming up week to talk about that football game. Pace, Florida, which has always got a good team, knocks off Andalusia 42-13, no problem there. Ramsey shuts out John Carroll 41-0. Ramsey with a rough start to the season with the teams that they had to open up with Parker and Clay Chalkville, but a big win there for them. Scottsboro over Sardis 45-7. Valley over Marbury 28-7, and Viger over Citronelle 32-6. Down into 4A, Alexandria knocks off Aniana 38-21. Booker T. Washington remains undefeated. 41-14 winners over Cleburne County. They continue building off that third-round playoff appearance from last year. L.A. O'Neill leaves and takes over Tallahassee football job, and they just keep winning at Booker T.
East Alabama Player of the Week, their quarterback this past week, threw for about 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. I'm sure he did the same last night. And tip your hat to a program that is not a perennial winner, that is becoming a consistent winner over at Booker T. Washington.
You just showed, you were just talking about this one, Jackson over Mobile Christian, 49-7. Dominating performance there for Jackson. I'm not surprised, but maybe a little surprised with their competition they played last night.
Duckworth had 535 total yards, 5 touchdowns. The quarterback there, Jackson, they got Crowell back in the backfield that we all want. I mean, Auburn and Alabama and everybody's clamoring for. He's got great size, very, very strong. This is a Jackson program that every year puts a good product out there, as long as I can remember.
Yeah, no doubt. Hanley over Munford, 63-21. Opp over Delville, 39-0. Orange Beach knocked off Satsuma, 56-32. Randolph over St. Paul, 49-17. Tallahassee over Bullitt County, 21-18. Let's drop down into 3A football. It was Bayside Academy shutting out Flomaton 14-0. BB Comer shuts out Childersburg 14-0. 2 future opponents for Dayville here in our region. Fife over Brindley Mountain, no problem, 63-0. I wouldn't be surprised they went out. Glenwood over Beulah 62-38. Mars Hill Bible, another one of the top teams there in 3A, 31-14 over Lauderdale County. It was Montgomery Academy over Northside Methodist 41-16. Piedmont over Westbrook Christian 38-10. Randolph County knocks off Lee Scott 44-21 last night.
That one was a bit of a surprise. Lee Scott and Glenwood moving into the AHSAA, both were undefeated up to that point. Both have made it a ritual to play one another for state championships in AHSAA, and so moving into AHSAA, it was a question whether either one of them would lose until they matched up with each other. So congratulations to Randolph County. Locust Fork, they there in Class 3A?
Yes, Locust Fork won 51-44 over
their
WP
quarterback,
Pennington.
Embry, is putting up. If there's PlayStation numbers to put up every week,
he put them up again this week.
Yeah, go look at his numbers. I mean, he's putting up well over 500 yards of total offense every week. I couldn't imagine watching him play. Very well put together, runs the football, throws the football equally as well. That's a team that was close last year.
Yeah, that's a team we historically haven't really talked about.
No, they've got to run athletes, and they're leaning on them. And their quarterback Embry has got a chance to be Mr. Football this year if he keeps up these numbers. The numbers he's throwing around, I think he's leading the country in total yardage.
It's amazing.
After last week.
We'll keep watching him again halfway through the season, so he's well on his way for sure. This one may be a little bit of a shocker to people. T.R. Miller gets the win, but only by 5 over Hillcrest Evergreen, 33-28. T.R. Miller, one of the top teams there in 3A football, had a close one last night.
Evergreen has played for championships.
Yeah, they have.
Very good coach down there that many are highly regarded. I'm not surprised. I watched a lot of lead up to that one. I think it was semi-thought to be the game of the week on the southern half of the state this past week, and it lived up to what you expected. If anyone plays with T.R. Miller this year, they're
a good football team, no doubt about it. Hillcrest Evergreen, watch them in the playoffs as we get closer. Two-way football now. We'll run down some scores. You better watch this team. We saw them last year. Had to forfeit 5 games because of some type of eligibility issue. But Coosa Christian knocked off Susan Moore 59-0. Highland Home knocks off Goshen 53-21. Lynette over Lafayette. It's a rival game there, but not much of a game last night. It was 52-12. Lynette winning that football game. Pisgah over Plainview 39-14. Reeltown knocks off Lochapoka 27-13. Close game there for the Rebels here in the local area.
Lochapoka's a good football team and very good team last year.
Ramburn over Central Coosa 50-32. Vincent over Sullivan 29-6. And we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll close out with 1A and then wrap up high school. And we'll dive into college coming up in the second hour. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
With summer here, the kids out of school, and fun at the lake, illness or injury can strike at any time. Whether you're on vacation or just don't have time to go see your primary doctor, visit your friends and professionals at Ivy Creek Urgent Care, located at Highway 49 South, next to Stillwater's main entrance. With a rotation of 4 professional doctors and 3 nurse practitioners, they honor all walk-ins, get you in, properly treated, and out swift so you can be back to the summer fun fast. When you need urgent, see Ivy Creek Urgent Care, Daveville. No appointment needed.
The new owners of Stillwater's Country Club want to welcome you to play the area's premier course at Stillwater's with our new rate. Now, play for only $35 per 18 during the week and only $40 for the weekend. Stillwater's Golf is ready to give you the area's best golf experience, and many upgrades are coming, including a lighted range and course expansion. Meet the new staff and enjoy $35 per 18 Monday through Friday and $40 on the weekends. All at Stillwater's Country Club in Dadeville.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
The good guys at Alex City Marine are ready for your boating needs all summer. And now you can get up to $4,500 in rebates on our huge selection of new Landau Tritoons and sacrifice pricing on remaining 23 models. Alex City Marine also has a new fleet of rental boats for fabulous days on the water, whether it's service, new pontoon selections, or rental boats. See the pros the locals know. Alex City Marine on Cherokee Road in Alexander City or online at alexcitymarine.com.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care opens 7 days a week. Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
you know, you and Russ could help a brother out, and you know, don't let me go in a whole hour looking at the wrong camera. So, well, I know where I stand on that, right? All right, let's go into 1A football and finish these scores up here in high school. Billingsley over Otagoville, 42-18. Elba knocks off Brantley, 57-53. Knew that was going to be a good football game, but when you got what Elba has back there in the backfield, it's just hard, man.
Still losing a lot of games.
They lose, but they score 57 points a game.
50 to 80 points per game, and then it just depends on who gets the ball last and how many touchdowns Alvin Henderson goes for.
Crazy.
PlayStation numbers, though. I said the same about Embry. If Embry doesn't get Mr. Football, it'll be Alvin Henderson who will break every national record that comes to touchdowns and total yards, I think, this year.
Never hadn't seen anybody in our time of covering high school football do what he's doing, for sure. But a good football game, ends up winning that game 57-53. They were on the losing end of what, a 78 to 72 something.
I think the other team got to 80.
Was it 80?
Yeah.
Was it 80 to 78?
Something like that.
And he lost.
9 touchdowns.
And he had 10. No,
actually, Ron went back to count because there was a national record up
I thought
for debate
it was 11.
there.
Yeah, I thought it was 11 was the national record, but he ended up with 9 that game.
Ended up with 9.
Well, I'm sorry. You know, only 9 for Alvin Henderson in that game. I don't know how many he had last night, but it definitely was a boatload. Leroy over J.F. Shields, 55-0. Maplesville over Autauga Academy. Great football game there, 21-20. Good luck here, though, in 1A with this team. Wadley, 62-7 over Victor Christian with the two-headed monster they have back there at running back. Just phenomenal team. We see Wadley, like you said, from time to time come up with a run of athletes, and they got them right now.
Yeah, Wilkes, Lynch, both of those running backs, much larger classification teams would like to have. I've watched some film on both. Lynch is more of what we saw last night, Brett.
Right.
The 5'8", 5'9", 175, 180-pound back that they had, in the past with Jamal Wilkes, who broke the state record in touchdowns. I think Alvin Henderson, if he hasn't passed so far, I'm pretty sure he's already eclipsed that record with Alvin Henderson. But yeah, that's a great program that has won before, and they're going to win a lot more this year. And wouldn't be surprised if they didn't win the 1A championship.
All right, I'll finish. We started with the polls in the first segment. We did 7A through 5A. We'll get 4A through 1A before we get out, and I'll run through them pretty quick. 4A is Jackson, number 1. Pleasant Grove 2, Cherokee County 3, Bibb County 4, and West Morgan 5. And rounding out that top 10 is Mobile Christian, who lost last night, St. Michael, Anniston, Booker T. Washington, and Opp. In Class 3A, it's T.R. Miller. Again, had a really, really close win there last night. Pull it out. Remain undefeated there in Class 3A. Morris Hill 2, 5-3, Piedmont 4, and Thomasville 5. That's five really good football teams in Class 3A.
Yeah, 4A, not sure anybody is going to play with Jackson in that classification. But Class 3A, I think you can even go past that. There's a few teams from 6 to 10 that I think have a chance to win a state title, which makes that a good class.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about those teams, Gordo, Trinity, Glenwood, Geraldine, and Winfield. So really good football teams there all the way up and down the top 10 in 3A. Class 2A, Pisgah, who knocked off Fife earlier in the year, remains at number 1. Highland Home 2, Tuscaloosa Academy 3, Cottonwood 4, and Coosa Christian comes in at number 5. Rounding out the top 10 there, Vincent, Reeltown, Goshen, Decatur, Heritage, and Winston County. When you look down, you and I both know how good Reeltown is. And when you look down at Reeltown and their number 7 tells you about that classification too.
And I think that's where they deserve to be. Looking at the scores and seeing the teams and watching the superlatives come across on the AHSAA outlets in Class 2A. There's just a lot of really good football teams in those lower classifications, especially 3A and 2A.
All right, and ended up with 1A, Wadley. Number 1 remains undefeated at 5-0. Leroy 2, Brantley 3. We just saw Brantley come up a little bit short in that game. Hackleburg 4, Maplesville 5, and then Spring Garden, Elba, Georgiana, Sweetwater, and Valley Head. So a matchup of top 10 teams. It was number 7 Elba knocking off number 3 Brantley last night.
Big win for Elba. They needed it. They've lost a couple that were a little bit surprising this year, but they're not stopping anybody. They're leaning heavily on Alvin Henderson. I mean,
Right.
he has to score 6, 7, 8 touchdowns a game against these great
And
teams.
he's up to the task.
So the question is, can Wadley play a little defense where some of these others aren't? And right now it looks like they can.
Yeah, it seems to be maybe the separator in that classification. And, again, Wadley, last year maybe a game in the playoffs that they thought they were going to win and came up a little bit short. So they're kind of on a revenge tour. I don't like to use that word a lot of times, but that's in the back of their mind, trying to get back to where they were last year, maybe get over the hump and finish that off. All right, just closing out high school teams in our local area. We ran down all the scores, but we had a couple teams off last night. Dave and Horseshoe Bend, they'll be back in action again next week. Benjamin Russell back home against Charles Henderson. So for homecoming, again, look to get back on the winning side of things.
Really good chance, too. Charles Henderson taking a thumping by Montgomery Catholic
63-6
last night. So probably a good matchup for us. Lick our wounds a little bit. We had a lot of injuries last night. I don't know. I'm hopeful none of them were serious, but at least 3 of our top 5 players were not only gimpy, but worrisome on whether it was a major injury when you watched the way that they were hopping around out there. So it'll be a good night to maybe have a team that you can handle pretty well.
Yeah, I don't, after talking to the coaches after the game, don't seem to think there's anything that was major. So, but a very hard-fought football game last night against Spain Park. Very tough football team in Spain Park. Again, they'll travel up to James Clemens next Friday and take on a really good team in a matchup of 2 undefeated teams there in Spain Park. If they win that football game, more than likely, unless they have some type of snafu, will probably run the table and go undefeated. So just real quick, the rest of the way out for Benjamin Russell, we're here at the halfway point, sitting at 2-3. If you come back and get a win against Charles Henderson, 3-3 with 4 games remaining, and then a couple region games that you still have ahead of you in Helena and Chelsea and Pelham, actually 3. So how does it play out in your mind?
2 of them are 50-50s. Chelsea has scored a boatload of points. They're 4-0 on the season. You don't get to 4-0. I don't care where you're coming from the previous year unless you've got some really good players, and Chelsea clearly does. Helena's always a tough matchup for us. We're a tough matchup for them. It's a pretty good back and forth with Benjamin Russell and Helena. We've won as many as they have. They've gotten away from us a few times, the same for us. We've gotten away from them a few times. So you could either go 5-5 or 7-3. That's the way I see it, and it's gonna all come down to those 2 football games, whether you host a game in the first round of the playoffs or you travel in the first round of the playoffs. And we've always seen how important it is to host that first round matchup.
You always want to be home, no matter. First goal is to make the playoffs, but if you can get a home game in that first round is actually the main goal. And again, it's all still in front of Benjamin Russell right there. Again, you turn around, and the key, I think, is keeping everybody healthy in a team that, again, as far as depth-wise, and a lot of teams battle this, I know that, but you got to keep everybody as healthy as possible coming down the stretch. So we'll kind of watch that and see how that plays out moving forward. But that's going to wrap up the high school segment of our show. When we come back, we'll be diving into college. Alabama off today, but Auburn takes on Arkansas at 2:30, and a lot of other games going on. That Tennessee-Oklahoma game is going to be one to watch. We'll come back. We'll talk about all those. Stay tuned. Second hour coming up right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price.
Foshie's Watts on Dable Road in Alexander City is always making improvements, making it bigger, like making their pellet ice a 10-pound bag for $2. How about their biscuits? Have you tried their biscuits with regular cheese or hoop cheese with sausage and ham and salmon, and throw an egg on there, and you got a happy person. And don't forget about they have propane and wood. That's Foshie's Watts, Dable Road, Alex City.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
If you're seeing the American cockroach, throw up the red flag. Ladybugs, throw up the red flag. Ants and swarming termites, throw up the red flag. And kudzu bugs, throw up the red flag. That's Red Flag Pest Control. So the caution is on. Call Red Flag Pest Control today.
I'm Scott Davis with Red Flag Pest Control. Call me today, 256-825-0430.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Gorees Furniture.
Your expressway to saving.
At Majestic Caverns, we believe in the power of unforgettable experiences. At a cool 60 degrees year-round, America's most historic caverns guarantees an enjoyable escape. But it doesn't stop there. With over 20 above-ground attractions, including 5 new ones this year, and our Cave Cafe, which offers delicious drinks and plenty of food options. And don't miss our exciting event, Libertas. On June 29th, July 6th, and July 13th, enjoy live entertainment and much more. At Majestic Caverns, your unforgettable adventure awaits.
Back here on the Saturday Sports Countdown, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air, hour number 2 coming your way here on the program, and we're going to dive into college football head first. No Alabama today, so we'll talk about Auburn and Arkansas for a majority of the time, but let's go backwards first. Alabama went on the road and knocked off Wisconsin in pretty dominating fashion. Last week, a big win for Alabama. Kalen DeBoer era off to a good start there for Alabama. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. It's a good coach. He inherited a great roster. Lost a couple of guys, but also was able to bring in some really, really good players, namely Ryan Williams that we've seen and a lot of people talk about. You know, Alabama, he doesn't play every snap, but they get him on the field and they make it a point. You can tell to get him the football X number of times a game to let him do what he's doing. That's score touchdown.
Well, he's the most explosive player that they have. One of the more explosive players in the country. We saw it. I think he's the youngest college football player in the country as he exited high school football a year early.
Should still be playing.
Made the right decision, though, because he was a man amongst boys. The opportunities that he got in high school, he was so much better than the other teams. And we saw that his junior year. He's Mr. Football in the state of Alabama as a sophomore.
Right.
His junior year, he didn't get as many opportunities. He did win Mr. Football again, Brett, but Saraland beat teams so badly that they really didn't need him to make a play. And then we saw in the championship game that we called where Ryan Williams and Jalen Mbakwe had to make plays, and both of them did. I mean, both one way or the other made outstanding plays, and Jalen Mbakwe just made a few more late in the game for them to win. So no surprise here. Two of the best players we saw in the state of Alabama last year are already making a splash this year at the university.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Georgia up next for Alabama, so going to be an important game in Tuscaloosa, and again, if there's an Achilles heel for Kirby Smart right now, it's Alabama. So they got to take a team on the road that just came back from a Kentucky game that, by all rights should have lost the game. Kentucky, a controversial ball that popped up in the air that Kentucky returned for a touchdown that they waved off and said the ball hit the ground incomplete. But for the most part, Georgia will have their hands full taking on Alabama, and again, both of them coming off a bye week there. A game to watch. Let's move forward into this week. A game to watch, and we'll start with Tennessee and Oklahoma. I'm excited to see how that game plays out tonight.
Well, if Tennessee plays up to the standard that I think that they can, especially as good as the quarterback is there at Tennessee, they could be a top 4 team in the conference. You and I talked about it a lot heading to the game last night. I mean, right now the ceiling of the SEC feels to be Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and potentially Tennessee. Am I leaving anybody out that you've seen?
No.
All 4 of those teams have great quarterback play. All 4 match each other if we see that tonight. But Tennessee, if they want to put themselves in the conversation for an SEC championship, from what I've seen out of Oklahoma this year, they got to go over there and they got to win this game convincingly, because that's how much of a separation I see at the top half of this league,
right
down to the middle to the bottom, where unfortunately Auburn sits.
And Oklahoma ranked 15th in the country there. It's a lot of pressure on them because,
Yes.
People looking at Brent Venables and saying, hey, is Oklahoma ready to take the next step with him as the head football coach? Had a pretty good year last year, but they're looking for, again, advancement and improvement, and can he do it? It's a first big test for them. And you got Josh Heupel returning to the place he played college football, won a Heisman Trophy, won a national championship. Did Josh win the Heisman Trophy? I don't think he did.
No,
won the national title there. But again, there's going to be a lot of emotion around that too. He returns to his alma mater.
And he's said some funny jabs out there that the Oklahoma fans are going to be really kind to him and not get on him when they show up in there. It's going to be a great environment. That is one I look forward to watching. I'm glad they're not at the same time for the Auburn game. We'll have a chance to watch that one tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back from scores last week in the SEC. Texas A&M knocked off Florida, went to the Swamp with a freshman quarterback, and got it done. Florida has a important game. I don't know how important it is for the outcome of the season. Not going to be the season's lost, I think. But for Billy Napier, if he loses in Starkville this morning, it's over for him.
Oh, he may not get back on the flight back to Gainesville. I mean, and I expect it to happen.
Yeah.
We have seen it at Auburn. When the tank happens, the tank will go very, very quickly. And this one has all the feelings of that. They don't know what they want to do offensively. The quarterback decisions, I heard JJ talk about it earlier in the week, will make you scratch all the hair off the top of your head. It is, but we can laugh. Us 2 Auburn fans sitting up here can laugh at this. I mean, we were bad enough that Tony Franklin was our offensive coordinator for a half of the season. And I'll never forget him carrying that box of paperwork out of
with a black eye.
I mean, we have weathered some storms as Auburn fans that you shouldn't be made be put through.
You just can't make it.
You really can't. And I guess somebody's got to be at this level.
Do we have anybody down there that make a good decision? I mean, this is dating back for 20 years, maybe even beyond that. I mean,
I wouldn't go 20, but I would say 15 confidently.
20. I mean, go back to 05. I mean, 04. That's not. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and include that in there too. I mean, we're coming off 04, 05. That's about the time we said that it started to fall apart. So get off the undefeated season, you come back in 05, and then things kind of, it underachieved in 06, had a really good football team, and, you lose a couple of games you're not supposed to. But since then, man, it has been talk about head scratching.
Well, Florida's there.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Florida that entire period, too.
Let's go back and count. Again, if you want to go back to 04, Auburn's had 3 or 4 years in there where you go, okay, man, those are outstanding years. And then outside of that, it's been, average to below average. And that's what Tennessee was post-Fulmer. And again, people are going to get sick of hearing me say that. But now that I look at it, we're in that 20-year span. Outside of that 04 season, we're 20 years removed from that, and we've had about 3 years. It's smattered in there, 10, 13, and 17, where you go, man, that's where we want our program to be. That's where we want to be. We want to compete at the highest level at the top of this conference, and we have not been able to maintain any type of consistency, and it all boils down to administration and leadership and making decisions, and it's been one bad decision after another that can put you in a situation here where we're staring down the barrel of a gun for a possibility of a fourth losing season if things don't go the right way starting today. I mean, let's just be honest about it. I mean, you and I have not witnessed in our lifetime 3 losing seasons in a row for Auburn. But, again, we're talking about, and we said it on Auburn Blitz yesterday, a must-win game against Arkansas. And it is, because this is a team and a program you've owned at Auburn, and you hadn't owned very many programs in the last 5 years, but you have owned Arkansas, and it's only a 2.5-point favorite or line for Auburn today, and you lose this game, it ain't going in the right direction, that's for sure. So, all right, we're up against the break. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Get ready to rev up your fall with Adams Motorsports in Montgomery. This season, experience the thrill of the open road like never before. From sleek motorcycles to powerful ATVs to versatile side-by-sides, we've got everything you need to fuel your passion for adventure. Whether Polaris, Suzuki, or Kawasaki, Adams sells and services the best. Go to where the journey begins. Visit us today or online for more information. From East Alabama's first family of power sports, Adams Motorsports of Montgomery.
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SEC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team wear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
Recapping last week's SEC matchups, it was South Carolina losing at the very end to LSU, 36-33. LSU goes on the road. South Carolina had a field goal opportunity there to tie the game to force overtime, led pretty much the entire game. LSU was able to score with about a minute and 20 seconds to go to take that lead. South Carolina missed a huge opportunity to get a big win, but Lenore Sellers goes out early in that game, and Robbie Ashford has to come in, and he can't hold it off. And, again, not to just pound on a kid, but just the same situation that at Auburn. Just can't do enough through the air to give his team a chance to win the game, and LSU comes back and wins.
Well, he's a great athlete. You know, he makes plays with his legs. That's not going to change. You know, you watch him play, and you're like,
it's not enough, though.
Could he be a receiver? Could he be a slot guy? He's got tremendous athleticism. No, I mean, it's not. It's what we've seen more times than not. I mean,
the same conversation you just had is what you just sent me back, man, to our conversations. Are we gonna move Robbie Ashford to receiver? He's a good athlete. We're gonna put him on the field. He obviously does not want to do anything but play quarterback, and it's not gonna get any better for him.
I mean, he's serviceable. He's not a big time winner, and it's really hard, including in the pros, to find, you know, a difference maker. And he's a good backup there for South Carolina. You can throw him out there, Brett. He can make some dynamic plays for you. You know, I can give the same reasons that Auburn bought into him a number of times, and we did it a lot last year. So it is what it is. But South Carolina is who they are. I mean, they're Auburn. They're who we are right now. I mean, if you look down and they were to have a plus 500 record in the SEC at the end of the year, you'd be shocked, wouldn't you? Same with Auburn. I mean, if Auburn ends up with a plus 500 record in SEC play, I'd be shocked by the end of this year.
Missouri over Boston College, 27-21. It wasn't easy for Missouri, but Boston College has already shown that they're a pretty formidable team, top 25 team. They go in to Missouri and fall a little bit short. But, again, Eli Drinkwitz probably going to be up for some jobs at the end of this season. Missouri ranked number 6 in the country. Good football team, hard to beat up there in Missouri, in Columbia. So we'll see how that continues to play out for them as they take on Vanderbilt today. And Vanderbilt, again, had a chance last week to kind of improve and put themselves in a situation where they haven't been in quite a long time, and they just couldn't do it. They lost to Georgia State 36-32. They Vanderbilt.
They did Vanderbilt. They've got a quarterback that is going to keep them in football games. It makes the game against Auburn interesting. You know, we saw him last year.
Every game against Auburn.
Well, but more times than not, Auburn's going to overcome no matter what Vandy throws out there. I mean, I think of years past where Vandy has had some pretty good defenses that you pointed to, some great linebacker play, but you know that it's coming. But when you've got a great quarterback, that is the one player that can bring all things equal, and they've got one. They just couldn't hold off defensively a Georgia State team, which makes, again, I'm more nervous with that Vandy game than I've been in a long time.
You should be. I mean, he's already proven he can come into Jordan-Hare and win a game with New Mexico State, and now he comes in with Vanderbilt, and they've already knocked off Virginia Tech to start the season. So even though they had a little bit of a setback with Georgia State, Diego Pavia puts them in a good position to win football games for sure. Georgia, boy, squeaks out a 1-point win against Kentucky. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Good football teams do find a way to win ugly games, and they did somehow pull out a 1-point win. Look, you can't play outstanding football each and every week. You can't get up every single week. And I'm sure Georgia, you know, kind of looking ahead into what's coming up with Alabama and what they just came off of the week before, kind of maybe overlooked Kentucky a little bit. So, but they found a way to win the game.
42 straight regular season victories now for Kirby Smart in Georgia. What else needs to be said? That's who they are right now.
Yeah, finding ways to win for sure. Toledo all over Mississippi State, 41-17 last week.
This is a struggle today over which program's in the cellar when it comes to the SEC. With Florida coming on the road to Mississippi State, I'm with you. They lose that today. I think he's gone anyway. I think that program
I think they've moved on.
Has hit a level that we would never have outside of Will Muschamp and what he did to that program.
But heck, he looks like an All-American coach compared to Billy
I mean, I remember doing programs with you that at the end when they had won 4 or 5 games and they were in the 90s recruiting, which is about where they are right now. I'd have to look down and see where Florida is. But I remember saying I didn't think it could be done. I didn't think Florida could only win 4 or 5 games and then somehow be in the 90s in recruiting. That's the one thing, even
Florida State,
as bad as Brian Harsin was recruiting, and I think he was the worst we could possibly ever hire at Auburn. We never got anywhere near below 30 in recruiting, Brett.
No.
That's how, I mean, how do you even get close to the 90s?
He didn't try.
No, I know it. That's imagine how bad it's got to be in Florida.
One of the most talent-rich states in the country, and you know, Miami goes out and gets Cam Ward. It's kind of a Band-Aid on their L's down there for Mario Cristobal. But Florida State and Florida right now, 1 win between the 2 programs. And Florida State has Cal coming in today. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you, it could be 0-4 for Mike Norvell for sure. So, but wrapping up games from last week, Oklahoma knocked off Tulane 34 to 19, and Arkansas knocked off UAB 37-27. Ole Miss over Wake Forest 40-6. I guess they beat them bad enough to where they said, "Well, we ain't coming. We're not coming to your place next year." So on the way out the door, they said they were supposed to have a home and home. Lane Kiffin a little upset about that. He said it's kind of an unwritten rule not to do that when you have a contract with somebody, and you honor your side, and then they decide, hey, look, we ain't coming over there to y'all's place. So Wake Forest got out of that one somehow, balled out whatever they had to do. And but your thoughts on that Arkansas UAB game? I know we're going to talk about Arkansas ad nauseum here in a couple of segments, but not a pretty win for Arkansas, but got it done.
Got it done. They're good offensively. They're better offensively than I feel like they've been the last few years. And Bobby Petrino can dial up plays that get you in tough situations. So, no, it's not a very when you look down at the score and you know a little bit about UAB, this is not a Bill Clark UAB team. Trent Dilfer, for whatever reason, does not have that program anywhere near where Bill Clark had it. If you would have looked down and Arkansas would have beat Bill Clark 37-27, you'd have thought a little more of it.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because, first off,
don't know where Trent Dilfer's going to end up.
Bill Clark is sitting out there for someone to go hire. That's a tremendous football coach. I told that to you on the ride last night. I could be talked into him if this thing doesn't work out, and I'm hopeful it does.
Let's not even go down that road.
But
right
still,
now,
Bill Clark, what he did at UAB was shocking.
Phenomenal.
And so, no, it was not.
Basically took over a team that was on the death penalty, basically some type of.
And then turned them into perennial 9, 10, 11 win seasons.
Right. Just a good football coach. All right, up against the break. Stay tuned. More to come right after this. Kevin Killed. I just texted with him. He had
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Alex City and west side of the lake. It's time to celebrate because the all-new Lake Martin Pizza is open with the area's best pizza, and it's just down Highway 63 South in our town. Lake Martin Pizza of Highway 63 has a huge outdoor seating area with enclosed heated comfort, a full bar with cold beer, wine, and full spirit selection with family ownership and fun for the whole family. Dine in or pick up. It's just a short drive to our town and is hands down the area's best pizza. Like us on Facebook to see upcoming live entertainment and watch sports on our 360 wraparound TVs. Rejoice! Lake Martin Pizza on Highway 63 is ready for you.
Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation is coming soon to the corner of 280 and 49 North in Dadeville. This new 10,000 square foot facility is conveniently located to serve the residents of the Lake Martin area and its many communities. A branch of Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory in Opelika, Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation looks forward to serving your families and your communities, as we have since 1900 at Frederick Dean. 256-750-0381.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All in an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Andrew McGreer at Dunning Roofing. At Dunning Roofing, we specialize in high-quality, premium roofs. We don't build roofs that just meet code requirements. We build quality roofs with premium materials that significantly exceed our competitors' warranties. We put money on your roof, not in our pockets. If you're looking for a top-quality roof, call Dunning Roofing today for your free quote at 256-307-7601 or visit us at DunningRoofingAL.com for more information.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. Sunshine, Heating, and Air. Let's go to the phone lines. Luke Robinson with us here this morning. Luke, appreciate you joining us. Alabama with the Saturday off, but you don't have a Saturday off. You made me tired just listening to you on the other side of the phone there. But, again, Alabama with an impressive win last week over Wisconsin.
Yeah, it was very impressive and a lot of fun. I mean, it was great to have those intersectional games and, just see a different environment. And it was I know it was a big game, but, they all are. All you got to do is lose one that you think is not. Ask Gene Stallings. That's what he used to say. But I think that it was just good to see a whole nother culture of football. And, boy, I would recommend it to anybody. It was a lot of fun. Everybody was really, really nice. And, it helps when your team wins big, but the other team was it wasn't like an SEC game where, people were flipping you off walking out of the stadium or anything. I mean, it was like they were like, hey, y'all are pretty good. We're not embarrassed. We thought we did okay for what we are. And everybody was just super nice. I would highly recommend it. It was like getting the weekend off in a way.
Yeah, Alabama continues to have a good run when they knocked the starting quarterback out on the first drive. Again, I don't think it would have mattered there, Luke, but you could kind of see the air go out of whatever Wisconsin possibly had when their quarterback went down. I'm just been impressed so far with how Alabama's kind of handled themselves coming off of the, Nick Saban era. Kalen DeBoer, a lot of people have been wanting to see how, how he would – how would start his career, but, off to a great start. And, again, like you said, not a conference game, but a big venue in Wisconsin, and Alabama was able to go up there and take care of business. Now the off week, and you get ready for Georgia. Even though in this Georgia run, Alabama's had Georgia's number, just your thoughts initially going into next week's game against Georgia.
Yeah, I feel a little better about it. I mean, I think the spread, which has come out anywhere from just about a pick 'em to Georgia about 3. I think that's about right. I mean, on paper, I think Georgia probably is the more talented team. But, one thing that I think Alabama is going to have an advantage certainly is being at home. Secondly, I think that Alabama may have an advantage in some of the skill positions. I like Alabama's wide receiver room better. I like Alabama's running back room better. It doesn't mean that Georgia's isn't good, but I don't think Georgia's got the playmakers that they've had of late. Now, I mean, that means that instead of having, first-round picks, they've got third-round picks. They're still very, very good, and I think that most teams would trade running back and wide receiver rooms with them because they just recruit that well. The other thing, I like the way the defense is coming together. Now, they're doing some things that are frightening me from time to time. They gave up a 21-play drive or something to South Florida, and then a 8-minute drive to Wisconsin this past week. Those two things are concerning and certainly should be noted, but I don't think it's the end of the world, and I don't think it's really what they are. And if they can stay focused against an opponent like Georgia for the entire game, I think it can certainly make a difference. I mean, this game is really I don't think anybody should predict a blowout one way or the other. It's going to be just a fun contest, and I'm looking forward to it.
Not to say that we didn't expect it, but what Alabama's doing with Ryan Williams, as young as he is, but as talented as he is, finding ways to let him be explosive out there on the football field is very impressive. Luke, your initial thoughts about his play in the first few games?
Well, they're just yeah, it's really, really impressive. Look at Ohio State. They've got this kid named Jeremiah Smith. He's awesome. I mean, he's got wheels. He's tall. He's a big target. Great hands. All these things. And when you look at him, you're thinking, okay, yeah, he should be great because I mean, you just see him get off the bus, and you're like, okay, that's a dude. I mean, he's got a Julio Jones look about him. Ryan Williams gets off the bus about $170, $175. Kind of an affable kid, big smile. Brightly colored hair, you're thinking, okay, maybe he's somebody, but he's just got an it factor. You can't put your finger on it. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's a little bit like Devontae Smith. They called him the Slim Reaper for a reason. I mean, he's much smaller than most everybody else, but he works really hard, and he worked on his craft really hard. And I don't think either Devontae nor Ryan is the fastest guy on the team, but they're fast enough, and they're not the most elusive guy on the team, but they're elusive enough, and they also just have a nose for the end zone. And Ryan has scored in every single game so far Alabama's had. And of all the big plays in the passing game, he's accounted for all of them. So it's pretty unbelievable to see him come in as a guy that is so young, youngest player in college football, and do this, and in a new system. So it's pretty unbelievable to watch him go to work. And it's going to be interesting to see how Georgia plays him and how he does against a secondary that's certainly going to be loaded for bear.
All right, Luke, just before we let you go, overall through a few weeks in the SEC, still don't know a lot about a lot of teams. Still big test. I know Alabama and Georgia, they'll find out a lot more about themselves next week. But you got this Tennessee-Oklahoma game today. The slate of games not very impressive overall this week. I mean, you really only have two games that are in interest of interconference play. You got that Oklahoma-Tennessee game. You got this Auburn-Arkansas game that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. Just your thoughts on Tennessee and where they are, and then how important that game is kind of as a barometer for them.
Yeah, this game is bigger than I think people realize because it's a jumping off point, and it's a huge one to start off. I mean, look, Oklahoma's just now getting into the leagues, and so we probably don't know the backstory to this like we should, or we don't keep up with it like we should have because Oklahoma was in the Big 12 when this happened, but, they let Josh Heupel go, who came in second for the Heisman for them back in 2000, won a national championship, and then he just sort of floats around for a while, and he ends up back at Tennessee, and he's got what many people think may be the most explosive offense in the country. And he's coming, back to his old stomping grounds. It's a huge story. And Tennessee is going to be without a starting offensive lineman. I did see that. And you wonder if that's going to have an effect. Oklahoma has not looked great. I mean, they've been okay, but they have not looked great to start off the season. And meanwhile, while Tennessee has looked awesome offensively at times, we're probably still not sure what they are. Kent State is up there as one of the worst teams in Division I this year. And so I don't think you can really put anything on that Kent State game from last week. It's like the Auburn-Alabama A&M game. I mean, you can't really take anything away from it. They scored on every possession, but, I mean, they should have. And then NC State, boy, I was wrong about them. I thought NC State was going to give, everybody fits this year. And now here they are today, an 18-point underdog to Clemson. And, of course, Tennessee slapped them around a good bit. It's going to be fun to see which one of those two teams comes out on top. I still think it'll be Tennessee. I think they're a big favorite for a reason. And the Auburn game will be a lot of fun too. This game is drunk just about every single year. It's a huge contest for Petrino coming back to Auburn, and I think Auburn needs to recapture a little bit of their momentum on the field that they've had off the field. I know some people that are going to the game, they're like, hey, I got upper deck 50-yard line tickets for about $13. And that just tells me that the enthusiasm is waning a little bit. Sort of like, hey, yeah, we're excited about the future and the recruiting, but eventually somebody's got to win a game on the field. And so I think that it would be good for Auburn to get that win, obviously, but Sam Pittman may need this more than anything for his job security. So, yeah, that Auburn game is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here coming up in just a few minutes. Luke, we appreciate it, buddy. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Thanks so much. Luke Robinson with our group, and we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about Auburn, Arkansas. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Thunderbolt Lightfoot at Oscar's Cafe on Highway 49 South in Dadeville, Alabama is looking to see you today. Now, let me tell you, they got great food. They've always had great food all these years. Now, they still got that atmosphere. They still got that service. They still cater. Let me stop right there. 15 to 415 they can handle. So give them a call today at Oscar's, Highway 49 South in Dadeville. 256-825-4827.
The new owners of Stillwater's Country Club want to welcome you to play the area's premier course at Stillwater's with our new rate. Now, play for only $35 per 18 during the week and only $40 for the weekends. Stillwater's Golf is ready to give you the area's best golf experience, and many upgrades are coming, including a lighted range and course expansion. Meet the new staff and enjoy $35 per 18 Monday through Friday and $40 on the weekends. All at Stillwater's Country Club in Dadeville.
At Team One Hyundai, it's the Summer Savings Sales Event. All new Hyundais will be sold at employee pricing, plus an unheard of $1,000 bonus for your trade-in. See our huge selection of new and pre-owned inventory at team1hyundai.com. Don't miss the summer savings with employee pricing, plus a $1,000 bonus for your trade. Team One Hyundai of Gadsden, where the experience exceeds your expectations.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SDC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
Announcing Camping World's Inflation Buster camping program. You can now get into a new RV starting at just $98 a month. We won't let the economy steal your camping season. Take advantage of this very limited time offer and lock in your low monthly payment today.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Saturday Sports Countdown. A couple segments left on the show today. Going to dive into this Auburn-Arkansas matchup. Again, only 2 games, really, in the SEC to talk about. I guess Vanderbilt, Missouri. I mean, it'll be semi-interesting, see how that game plays out. But you've got the Tennessee-Oklahoma game. You got Auburn-Arkansas. Auburn at 2-1, Arkansas at 2-1. Very similar wins. A&M for Auburn, Alabama A&M 73-3. They beat Arkansas Pine Bluff 70-0. We both lose in week 2. They lose to Oklahoma State 39-31. We lose to California 21-14. They beat UAB 37-27. We beat New Mexico 45-19. Today, 2.5-point favorite for Auburn at 2:30. Be nice and hot for everybody, sweat to death. out there, and we'll see what the performance is. It'll be Hank Brown's first start against an SEC team. Had his first start in his career last week. Thought he did pretty good, very serviceable. Going to have to be better today.
Well, you and I'll both be there. And
sweating.
I do get the feel out there that what Luke is saying is reality. You've got a lot of Auburn fans that are desperate to buy into something. And we've bought into the effort we're seeing on the recruiting front, but it must parlay to the field. And today is the first game where a lot of us are watching whether, I'll say what you say all the time. You get to this part of the season just about every year. I've been going to ball games with you and talking to you during ball games for a majority of my life. You get to a part of the season, which is today, where you decide whether you're going to put yourself through it anymore.
Right.
And you said it to me last night. I'm going tomorrow. It might be my last one, but I'm going tomorrow. And you mean it. There's a lot of Auburn fans out there that's got tougher stomachs than you and I have. I've witnessed them over the years. They've gotten upset with us when we've walked out of nightmares that we've seen because we didn't sit through that whole disaster. And, I tip my hat to you fans that can do that. But today I think is one of those games, Brett. I have no feel whatsoever what this Auburn team's going to do today or the remainder of the season.
I think at the end of the day, what Luke said, what I've said for about 2 weeks now about this momentum off the field, and it is. At some point in time, you got to start translating to progress on the field. And you can keep saying the roster's not there and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, you got to just take the next step at whatever point in time that is. And you got to get better. And if Auburn is trying to go in the right direction, you don't lose to this team today at home. You just don't. This is a team you've owned. And I hear Bobby Petrino's there now and all this stuff. But they are who they are and who they have been under Sam Pittman. Auburn has owned them. They went to Fayetteville last year and blew their doors off. Now, I know you can't really compare one year to the next, but this has been over the course of 4 or 5 years. If Auburn's to start making strides and want this season to have some semblance of success so they can maintain the off-field success that they're having right now in recruiting and keep these recruits and build on that, they need to win this game today and have that environment next week with Oklahoma at a fever pitch. You lose this game today, that environment's not going to be very good next. It'll still be good, but it won't be near as good as if Auburn's sitting there trying to go to 4-1 before they go to an off week. So I just think, the future is now. I'm not saying Auburn is going to win 9 or 10 games this year. I'm just saying this is an important step in the right direction if Auburn's wanting to make that progress.
Well, here's the matchups. And Brett just said you've got to take out the Alabama A&M game. You got to take out the Arkansas Pine Bluff game. But they're both in the middle of these stats, the same for both teams. So if you look through these stats, pretty equivalent what you've seen. Offensively, this is an Arkansas team that's not like what we've seen in years past. Bobby Petrino, in year one, has them almost averaging 600 yards of offense per game. They're coming in at 587 total yards per game, and they're getting it done both running the football and passing the football. 259 yards rushing a game, 328 yards passing. The passing numbers are what concerns me. We are not very good right now in the secondary. Can that change? We got a chance to show it today. The thing that concerns me about Bobby Petrino is if you've got players back there that are susceptible to big plays, he will find ways to expose you.
A good offensive coordinator will.
I don't like Bobby Petrino any more than any other Auburn fan out there. I remember the flight out in 2002 and all that went on in 2003. I remember these things clearly. Jetgate and Bobby Petrino going to be the next coach at Auburn and buying in, and then Tuberville finding his way.
Everywhere he's been, he's left a trail of slime.
But the guy can call offensive plays, and he can coach them up offensively.
He's been resurrected.
And that's who we're dealing with today. And if the first few weeks point to a team that's moving forward offensively, it's today. So our secondary is going to have their hands full today. I'm worried about. And look, it may be like you've seen so far. Auburn offensively, averaging 472 yards worth of offense per game. We're not running the ball anywhere near to the level that we had hoped to.
No.
But it seemed to turn around a little bit last week. Auburn averaging 188 yards rushing per game, 283 yards passing per game. So a little over 100 more yards of offense per game coming into this one for Arkansas. And both of the matchups have been pretty equal when you look at the three teams that both teams have faced.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you look at it from a standpoint, again, these numbers, I think at some point in time, Auburn's got to make the mental from the players, the coaches, quit riding excuses. And we got some players in some positions that can make plays. They're going to have to make them today. You're going into SEC play. I'm serious when I said this earlier. I mean, you want to be facing or looking down the barrel of another losing season. Lose this game today, because you start looking at what you got coming up. I mean, you got Oklahoma, then you're off, and then you got Georgia, Missouri, and Kentucky, all on the road. You're not home for a month. I mean, Auburn's not going to be favored in any of those games. You better win these, and if not, the path to 6 or 7 wins starts to look very ominous at that point. So it's a team that Auburn's owned the last few years. Again, Bobby Petrino has made them a better offensive team. Not sure we know anything about them, though, by their 3 opponents, and not sure we know really anything about us other than we played horrific offensively in that Cal game with 5 turnovers. New quarterback, Hank Brown, first start against an SEC school. It's going to have to be better today. We heard Jason Caldwell say it on the show yesterday. You're going to have he didn't really mean to say it this way, I think, but I think he did in some form mean to say it's his first real defense that Auburn's going to play. I mean, Cal was pretty good, but Arkansas's an SEC defense, and we'll see how Hank Brown responds. I mean, it's different when you get in league play.
Well, Arkansas's numbers defensively really strong too. They're only giving up 290 yards of total offense per game, only giving up 60 yards rushing per game, 228 yards through the air. Vice versa, Auburn giving up 340 yards defensively, right at 100 yards rushing, and 240 yards through the air. So those are the two comparisons that you'll see in those two games. Here's the key stat that I would watch, and I know we're up against a break. Auburn so far has 9 turnovers lost on the season. Only 4 turnovers lost for Arkansas. That 9 turnovers lost by Auburn is 131st in the country and dead last in the SEC, coming in at number 16.
9 daggum turnovers in 3 football games, man. You ain't beating anybody worth a darn with that kind of turnover ratio. And, I mean, that's horrendous. That's not bad. That's horrendous turnover numbers. 5 of them in one game against Cal. Ball protection is the utmost important in this league. And if you can't take care of the football any better than that and play that sloppy, you are a 5-win team. And if that continues on, there's nothing more to discuss. So we'll see if the turnover situation gets better for Auburn today. All right, up against the final break of the show. One final segment right after this.
If you're tired of the same old, and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
At Russell Medical, we're proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are. I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need with top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindawa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill, and our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care, open 7 days a week.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
SignSource is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown. Let's go to the phone lines, the Eric McKinley Mortgage Pro Hotline. Jerry, go ahead, buddy. You're on the show.
Hey, good morning, Randy and Brett. Thank you for taking my call, fellas.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate what y'all do for high school football. I saw a little 5A game last night between Leeds and Jacksonville. Leeds has got a pretty good team and a fine little quarterback and running back. But irregardless of that, speaking of Auburn, I'm a firm believer in football overall that you got to be good on your lines of scrimmage, offensive line, defensive line. And right now, honestly, I just don't see it until we get that sorted up. I think we're just going to be mediocre and just going to be kind of muddling along. And I guess I need y'all to talk me off the ledge on that, because I hate to sound pessimistic, but not to be critical, but that's just the way I see it. You got to be tough up there. You got to be good, but that's just the way I see it, guys. Thank you for taking my call. War Eagle always.
Appreciate you, Jerry. I think you called. Jerry, you called the wrong show for somebody to get talked off the ledge. Well, I think we're standing up there with you. We need to call somebody else to help us. So, but anyway, I mean,
let me expand on it a
yeah.
little bit. You and I looked into it on Tuesday. Defensive line's got to have production. Keldrick Falk had a tremendous game against Cal. He is the one bright spot. Jalen McLeod had 5 tackles against Alabama A&M, if you can take that. But outside of those two performances, the defensive line, and especially those transfer defensive tackles that we've gotten, have done next to nothing. Maybe a couple of tackles on the season. I think the entire ball game last week, Auburn's defensive line had 3 tackles in the football game last week. It's unacceptable in the SEC.
What is Philip Bleedy doing?
Well, they're just plugging holes. They are not producing a lot of plays. Isaiah Rakes is the same. And they played a lot of football. And I bought into that, and I'll continue to buy into whatever the coaching staff's selling. But, man, it does get tough, Jerry, to watch and to see and to think that you've got to match up with what we have to match up with moving forward. And it must be better today. The couple of bright spots must play outstanding football, and that's Keldrick Falk and Jalen McLeod. And anything that takes them away, those two players away from creating some disruption to the quarterback on the opposing team is a very poor decision in my book.
Better make negative plays,
because who else do we have that you have any confidence
Kieran
in?
Crawford can make plays. He can absolutely.
Well, he'll probably get more snaps.
He will get more snaps.
And I think Malik Blockton's going to start getting more snaps.
I think
too.
Robert Woodyard's going to have to play well. He's been playing pretty good. You heard Jason Caldwell talk about that.
Yes.
From sideline.
I don't think the linebackers have been bad.
No, we said it. I told you yesterday on Gary Harris's show. He asked me the bright spots. I said our linebackers and our running game. And the reason I said it because I had to pick one on both sides of the ball. And I do still think that our running game, I mean, you got the best running back possibly in the league returning in Jarquez Hunter. First time he'd ever carried it for 20 times was last week. Going to have to see more of him. You got to have to do that, establish the line of scrimmage, stay ahead of the chains to help Hank Brown in the passing game. Going to see more Malcolm Simmons today. I think you heard that from Hugh Freeze, unless he pulls a Gus Malzahn and just absolutely told us one thing and does another. Now, Gus Malzahn would tell you you're going to see more of somebody, and he didn't even make the trip to the stadium. He was over in the apartment. So it's like, I'll never forget, and I will close with this, but on the way to the game, Sean White's going to absolutely, he's going to play and start. And, I mean, they were in the locker room down there. I mean, it was pregame talk. Man, he ain't even dressed out. I'm like, who are you lying to? I mean, seriously, man. Hey, just go ahead and tell a bold-faced lie right into the mic when everybody can see when they get to the stadium, the guys standing on the sideline in civvies. So I don't know. I'm expecting to see more Malcolm Simmons. We need to see more of Malcolm Simmons. You've said it 100 times. I think he's the imps of Ryan Williams. I agree. Alabama just finds a way to use their Ryan Williams, and we find a way to get him 5 snaps against Cal. So we have just got to make better decisions.
Cam Coleman back. Looks like all of the players that have missed time will be back. That'll be needed. But Jerry said it as perfectly as you could say it. If you can't win the lines of scrimmage in SEC games, you're not going to win these football games. And we need to be a lot better than what we've seen so far on both sides of the ball in the lines of scrimmage.
No doubt. So we'll see. Coming up here at 2:30, we'll be there, and we'll break it down for you next week on the Auburn Blitz. It should be a fun show on Monday, one way or the other. Laughing or crying or a little both, regardless of how it goes. But anyway, it's been fun today here on the Saturday Sports Countdown, and just want to send a shout-out to our good friend Kevin Kill, a little under the weather. Won't go into detail, but glad he's recovering. It's all good there, and be back to normal, whatever normal is for Kevin, for all of us. Thoughts and prayers.
70-hour work weeks.
That's it. 70-hour work weeks for Kevin for sure, and some football mixed in there as well. So, all right, it's going to wrap it up for the Saturday Sports Countdown. For Randy, I'm Brett saying we've enjoyed it. We have to see you next week.
With summer here, the kids out of school, and fun at the lake, illness or injury can strike at any time. Whether you're on vacation or just don't have time to go see your primary doctor, visit your friends and professionals at Ivy Creek Urgent Care, located at Highway 49 South, next to Stillwater's main entrance, with a rotation of 4 professional doctors and 3 nurse practitioners. They honor all walk-ins, get you in, properly treated, and out swift so you can be back to the summer fun fast. When you need urgent, see Ivy Creek Urgent Care, Daveville. No appointment needed.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor wants you to know the only thing hotter than the summer on the lake is the hot incentives with all Mahindra tractors and farm implements and tough Spartan mowers. Right now, get the year's hottest deals on Mahindra with financing up to 84 months or 0%. Speaking of zero, see the huge selection of zero-turn Spartan mowers with 0% interest, financing up to 60 months. See the lake's authorized Mahindra and Spartan dealer, Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor, for deals that sizzle all season long.
Summertime is a special time. Time on the water, time away from work, and more time with family and friends. Make sure your heart is ready for the season with an appointment at the UAB Heart and Vascular Clinic at Russell Medical. I'm Dr. Kevin Sublett, and our entire clinic is dedicated to keeping your heart healthy. We're right here in your own community and backed by the knowledge and expertise of UAB Medicine. Make an appointment today by calling 256-234-2644 or visit uabmedicine.org/heartrussell.
If you listen carefully, you'll hear the roads of Alabama calling. And Sarah Honda has your answer. Serving you for over 40 years with one of the largest Honda and pre-owned inventories in the state, and the Sarah Promise. Our best deal when you buy or trade, a 72-hour exchange policy, a no-hassle trade-in promise. Written offers are good for 7 days. And our best service promise. Our factory-certified technicians help keep your vehicle running smoothly. That's why Alabama can be yours to discover in a new vehicle from Sarah Honda in Sylacauga.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.